Yesterday I recorded a video in which I discussed the embrace of authoritarianism by the alt-right / dissident right, and how that somehow led to the embrace of the lockdown op. What do you want to call it? The virus op, which then led into the vaccine op. There was this endorsement on the part of numerous, conspicuous figures within the alt-right / dissident right movement, whose embrace of authority led them to take positions that I didn't even anticipate them taking. I was never, as I said yesterday, I was never down with this whole movement towards being anti-libertarian or towards, turning against libertarianism with just what struck me as this peculiar animosity. That was never that journey. That seemed to mark the trajectory of many in the alt-right. That was never my journey, and while it was happening, while I was seeing this sort of what I would call groupthink in motion, because it was a very peculiar thing how it all happened. It seemed like all of these people, and maybe the whole TRS was the epicenter of all of this, or maybe the epicenter was elsewhere, and I just wasn't aware of it because I've never been the most tuned in sort of guy. But in any case, it seemed like it was like, oh well, we were all this way back in 2012, but now that it's 2015, we've turned so far against our Ron Paul supporting selves, and now we just think statism is really cool, and we're totally behind the jackbooted state, and we just think it's so gay and so retarded to ever go against the state, and that people claiming to be sovereign citizens asking if they're being detained, oh, those people are so cringe, and just all of this movement against anti-statism. That was something I never related to. Now, at the same time, I was never a doctrinaire libertarian, and I saw problems within libertarianism, to the extent that I looked at it. I saw that, as I said yesterday, there I think always has been a faction of libertarianism that is just basically about being socially liberal or leftist, and just favoring all of these degenerate behaviors and lifestyle choices and so forth, and just wanting to see the world become more degenerate and wanting the state to get out of the way while the rest of us while the degeneracy spreads. I was aware that was a part of the group of the larger block of people who call themselves libertarians, but by no means everybody. And there were and have been pro-life libertarians as well, and very traditionalist minded people who had the libertarian mindset and who were 100% against degeneracy. So the whole, this whole, oh, we're all changing. We as a movement, as a movement, we're not what we were in 2012. Now that it's 2015, we've decided we're this. And it was like, is anybody out there just, thinking for themselves? Is everybody out there just plugged into the same collective? And we're just going to go. We're going to talk about being NPCs, although that wasn't really a meme yet, but we're just all gonna charge from this one position to this other position, this diametrically opposed position, now that the Trump thing is cool and the Ron Paul thing is out. Again, never related to that. And I remember that I don't know exactly how to date this. It might have been in 2015, might have been as early as 2015, or maybe it was even as late as 2017. But I remember writing an article for what was then Alternative Right, Mach 2, before Colin Liddell changed the name of it to Affirmative Right. But I remember writing an article entitled "In Defense of Anti-Statism," and I'll have to. I don't remember exactly what I said in that article right now. It's been a while, but I'll look it up and see if it's still around. And if it is still around, I'll link to it below. You know, a lot of that stuff just sort of seems to have. A lot of the articles that were written for the original Alternative Right site before that got taken down by Richard Spencer, and then a lot of that stuff disappeared, and then it was restored in some other place, but then, you know, Colin changed the whole format again, so it just seems like it never really ever stayed in one place, and it's kind of hard to nail down. I think I had my own page that I was working on for a while, where I was just trying to archive my own work. It's called Anti-NoWiki. Anti-NoWiki.blogspot.com. And maybe that article is even there. Anyway, I posted this article, which I titled "In Defense of Anti-Statism." I posted it in response to this headlong trend. This, to me, you know, I'm not going to say it was totally unthinking, but it just seemed like it was more about following the herd. And the herd was all going towards, you know, being Trumpian, which I guess meant, you know, favoring protectionism and restricting immigration, and that meant, you know, embracing statism in a way. You know, and I can understand, you know, I understand that it's a transition going from a libertarian like Ron Paul to a protectionist, or someone who promoted himself as a protectionist like Donald Trump. I get that that's a transition. But it wasn't just. It seemed to go beyond the boundaries of just favoring, you know, keeping illegal immigrants out, or limiting immigration, and you know, putting protectionist policies in place. It seemed to be geared more towards just hating on libertarianism, and just thinking libertarians are gay and retarded all the time, and thinking that, you know, well, the state is gonna tell you what to do. And it was like, at the time, I didn't see that these people would eventually cave in, or I don't even know if it's caving in, if it was just like offering themselves up to the state, to the very state that they wanted to tear down, right? That was what I thought was the case anyway. You know, I would have thought that the people who were a part of this statist, this pro-statist movement within the alt-right, that they would have still seen the state as it existed, you know, before the revolution happened, before like I said yesterday, the beer hall putsch or the March on Rome or whatever change that, you know, they wanted to see happen. The Franco Salazar-esque leader got installed and put an end to this Weimar state of degeneracy. that's when, they would start saying, we are the state and you must obey us. But I didn't see that. Again, there's a slippery slope. I don't want to repeat myself too much about what I just said yesterday, but there is indeed a slippery slope from saying you don't actually have any individual rights. The state has a right to rule over you. Might makes right. Power is its own justification. Appeals to the Constitution are gay and retarded and stupid and boomerish, which is all the sort of rhetoric that you were hearing from TRS and others at around this time, 2015, 2016, 2017. So I wrote this article in defense of anti-statism, and I remember shortly afterwards, Colin Liddell, who I think at the time had assumed editorship of AltRight.com. We were co-editors for a while, and then I opted out of that position, and just ceded the editorship to him. But he soon afterwards, like just a couple days later, I think, put up an article saying, in defense of statism. And it was like, the way I read it at the time, and the way I still read it, was that Colin was trying to say, ooh, I really don't want to alienate our base here, because the base is going in this statist direction. He didn't. To his credit, he didn't forbid me from publishing my article, but he kind of tried to checkmate my article, or maybe just give it's like the point counterpoint kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe that was how it could best be viewed at the time. But of course, his article about being pro-statist was much more well received, judging by the number of likes it got, judging by the comments, than mine was, and that was to be expected. My position was seen as contrarian, and I was often seen as contrarian at the time. But I just I didn't. I've never been someone who just changes because people around me are changing, or who just thinks, well, this is where the movement is going, so I just better go with the movement and embrace this position now. That's never been my thing. So the bitter fruit that all of this pro-statism, all of this worship of the state, all of this this invective against libertarians and libertarianism, the bitter fruit of all of that didn't start to blossom until 2020. Didn't really start to blossom in a truly malignant way until 2020, and that's when it seems that the great betrayal hit among dissident right figures. Among many of them. Now, I guess there were those on the other side, and I'm one of the ones on the other side who was opposed to the virus op, the lockdown op, from the very inception, from the very beginning. I thought that it was fraudulent, but you had these people. Again, Richard Spencer is just the tip of the iceberg. You had these people who seemed like they were so, like, oh, these are such bad boys. They're really taking on. They're really fighting the power. Zog beware, Zog beware. These guys on the alt-right and the dissident right, they're not going to cower before you, Zog. And then come March of 2020, Zog says, well, you know what, everybody, needs to stay inside your homes, and we're going to close all businesses down except the big corporations, who are going to get really, really rich, and you're all going to lose your jobs, and you have to stay 6 feet apart at all times, and you know, you all have to put these things over your faces, these muzzles over your faces, and then you have to eventually take this poison jab, and if you don't do it, then we're going to come down hard on you. And all along during this whole time, these bad boys, these anti-Zog bad boys, we're just saying they were like that. While Zog was getting in our faces and ordering us to do one outrageous thing after another, violating our liberties left and right for days, for weeks, for months on end, in some places in the country, in some places in the world. Then you had these supposedly dissident figures, these ones who were going to stand up to, who were going to fight the powers that be, in the words of Chuck D. They were like the little, I don't know, like you have some big hulking figure saying, "Hey, you better do this," and then it's like I don't know who's that character in Aladdin, the big mean guy, and then there's his parrot Iago, like, "Rock, yes, you better do what he says. Better stay inside your homes. Better not go out without your mask on. Better stay 6 feet apart. This is serious. You better take this seriously. Don't say it's just a flu. You better take it seriously." I mean, that was the alt-right. That was what the dissident right became in many cases. Not just in Richard Spencer's case. They became just pathetic lickspittle lapdogs of Zog. And I don't usually use the term Zog, but that's the word that they would use, or and they were there supporting it. They were totally in line, lockstep behind the deep state, lockstep behind the lockdown promoted by the deep state. And again, not to be, I'm hoping that this video isn't just totally redundant from what I was saying yesterday. I know there's been some overlap, but I do think that it boils down to this embrace on the part of so many of the alt-right figures, this embrace of authoritarianism, this which is an odd position to take. It's odd when you are the rebels, when you're the ones going against the powers that be, the juggernaut that rules us all and could kill us all, could drone strike us all at a moment's notice, or use other creative ways to take us out. It's kind of weird in the midst of all that to say, well, we believe in authority, we believe in the state. And what did that become? These guys, as far as I'm concerned, all have egg on their faces. They all have Richard Spencer, TRS, the guys of TRS who espouse this, and anyone else you can think of who were just telling us, who were just echoing the illegitimate commands of the powers that be, who were trampling on our rights and liberties, telling us that we can't organize, we can't protest, these scenarios that they've put in order, this lockdown they've imposed on us, this unprecedented lockdown, ostensibly for health reasons. But you're not going to convince me in a million years that it was about health. Not in a million years. It was about power. It was about consolidating power and running this op to see what they could get away with. You know, Event 201 is all laid out there. Anyway, so I just remembered this. I just wanted to mention. I remembered this article that I wrote, and I'm going to try to, after I finish recording this video, I'm going to try to find it, and I will post it if I can, and just bring everybody back to those heady days when authoritarianism became all the rage on the alt-right. And thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Talk to y'all soon.